Welcome everyone and welcome back to the Coach Approach. It's your coach Blake of the Black Faker, coach of going on, actually not even going on anymore, of coach of 8 years, here to bring you information. Today is Coach Chat Day. I believe every Monday is just going to be a Coach Chat Day. If you guys want to have more Coach Chats, let me know. This is basically just kind of a podcast, I guess. You can kind of just listen to it if you would like, but I don't really want to call it a podcast. It's just chat with Coach. Anything coming up in league or anything you guys have questions about, anything like that, let me know. I'll make a video about it and we'll talk about it. But today's discussion is, why am I gaining less LP when I win, even though I have really good win rates? I'm not going to be talking about, well, you lost all your games, you messed up your MMR, and you're getting LP gain loss. Like, that's obvious. But my MMR is fine, yet I'm not gaining as much LP as I should be gaining. Well, if you're curious about that, let's check it out. I don't know why I do this. I do this every video. Let's go. All right, so let's get down to the nitty gritty. Why am I losing? Not losing, I'm sorry. Why am I gaining less LP than I usually gain within the past seasons, even within this season, honestly? Why are there differences? So before we get started, of course, make sure you guys check out my Patreon if you guys would like some very in-depth guides. The last video that I put out was going over a challenger VOD and just discussing things that challenger players do that just regular solo queue players don't do. If that's something you're interested in, I'm going to make more of those as well as guides on that as well. So if you want to check it out, feel free. Also, there is going to be a free coaching coming up soon. So if you guys would like to participate in that, join my Discord. Same with free VOD reviews. Participate in that, join my Discord. But why am I losing LP? Or less LP? Why am I gaining less LP? But let me start with a quote from Riot themselves on their actual dev blog. So, smaller LP gains and loses. Between placing higher, LP rollover between divisions, and removing divisions from which granted no LP for the required wins, we're adding a lot of LP to the system. Basically what they mean is between higher, placing higher, so you know, if you place higher than normal, LP rollover between divisions. So if you get to like 95 LP, when you win, you're going to be, that leftover LP is going to be going into your next division. So if you're gold 4 at 95 LP and you're winning 20 LP, well then you'll be gold 3 at 15 LP, okay? And removing division promos, which granted no LP for the required wins. So basically, you get no LP for doing your promos, pretty much. And that got removed, right? So now you don't have to go through promos anymore. We're adding a lot of LP to the system. Left unchecked, that would slingshot everyone upward and prevent ranked informed matchmaking from working well. Basically just meaning that if we are just basing it off of LP, everyone would be a lot higher than they should be, right? And the point of ranking is to make sure that everything is balanced and making sure that everything is match made properly. Obviously, that's not always the case. Sometimes the matchmaking fails. Stuff happens, right? But for the most part, it's really trying its best to get people that are near your skill level, whether you think so or not. LP gains and loses will be slightly smaller this season to keep matchmaking healthy. So to prevent you from shooting so far, so fast, lowering the LP kind of still keeps it similar because they did remove promos. So that's what, 3 games right there of what you don't actually have to do. So technically, you're not really gaining less LP. It just seems like it because, I mean, you had to play 2 or 3 games and win them. I mean, you have to win 2 or 3 of the games of the promos to promote, but now it's gone. So you're playing actually less games than you usually would have in the first place, especially if you're the one that likes that just has anxiety in promos and just loses constantly, right? The downfall of that is that if you are at 0 LP, you're just instantly going back down to whatever you were at. But that doesn't really answer the question of why am I getting less LP, right? As they said here, it's to keep matchmaking healthy. If matchmaking is unhealthy, games feel unbalanced, you have one-sided games all the time, and as much as I hate to say it, I mean, I don't really hate to say it, I like to say it, matchmaking this season is better. Whether you guys think so or not, it is better. Players are a lot more close to the skill level that you're playing at, which is very, very good. Also, what they're doing with the new Smurf queue, as well as just putting new players where they should belong in the first place, because they are looking at not just your MMR now, they're looking at your actual rank. So that's going to be how they decide where you go and who you go against based off your rank and your MMR, not just your MMR. So I don't think that's too much of a difference from what we've had before. It just helps us a little, fine line tuning of matchmaking just a little bit. Now, another reason why you might be losing LP is if you duo a lot. Might be not losing, I'm sorry, gaining less LP is if you duo a lot. Are you someone that duos? Do you lose sometimes? Well, the higher elo the other person is that is losing compared to their counterpart, not counterpart, partner, they're gonna drop their MMR pretty fast. And you may be, well, I only lost once or twice. I have like a 60% win rate though. Well, doesn't matter. The game thinks you should be winning and you end up losing. Well, the game thinks you shouldn't be where you should be if you can't even beat these guys. So that's another way that it kind of just drops from MMR. When you're duoing and you're losing, even if it's once, twice, 3 times, it's a drastic hit on the person that's actually the higher ranking account than its partner. So that's probably another reason why you are getting less LP. Now, if you're like, well, I don't ever duo, and I think my win rate's fine, and I think my ranking is okay. My LP shouldn't still be this less. This shouldn't be this little of a game. Well, another reason why that may be happening is because of I actually just lost my train of thought. I just lost my train of thought. We are unscripted. Well, not really. I mean, we are, but we aren't. Anyway, back to the video. The reason why you may be gaining less is because the actual average you should be gaining is about 15 or 16 every season. If you look at the either players that have been playing for a long time and they're basically like, I won't say stuck, but they're basically stagnating. They're in the same spot for a while. And if they go up, it's just a little bit. If they go down, it's just a little bit. And they're just kind of, like that. Usually, you'll eventually start getting 15 to 16 LP. Especially when it comes to Grandmasters and Challenge. I don't know if you ever watched their accounts, but through the seasons, not even just this one, they would get 15 to 16 LP. That is average. Before, you would get 20, 23, 20, whatever. That's just the game giving you a chance to climb, that's not the average. That's just like, hey, here you go. It's just trying to promote that climb for you. But in reality, the average, once you're D+, and you are streamlining like that, you're only getting 15 to 16. Should you be losing way more? No. That's how you know your MMR is a little bit messed up. You should be losing, if not the same, a little bit lower than that. You should still basically be seeing gains, even if you win, lose, you're still getting gains. Whether it's by 2, 3, 4 LP or whatever, you should still see it. But the average is about 15 to 16. Now, to add some backup fact to that, I've actually coached a few riders. Now, obviously, there's some things they can't answer, and I don't usually use the coaching session as like explanation time for anything, or asking favors or anything like that. I'm coaching them, but sometimes some questions will pop up, and that was one of them. I was like, man, my LP gain is terrible, and he was like, that's actually average. You're not really supposed to be gaining that, like 25 and stuff like that. The average is like 15 or 16. That's normal. And I was like, really? He was like, yeah. That's normal. As I said, he didn't really go into the in-depth on like how this stuff works. They're not supposed to do that, which I'm perfectly fine with. I never ask anything like that. It was just a comment I said, and he added that extra comment. So I hope this helped answer the questions of why your LP gains might be less. Not only did Riot say, hey, we're gonna make that lower because you're playing less games, and we don't want you actually climbing faster than you should be. Because even if you're not that great, even if you win 50% of your games, or I would say 51% of your games, and you're gaining a ton of LP, you're gonna be in an elo you shouldn't be in. So mitigating that just makes it better, not just for you and your teammates, but for everybody in general, right? You don't want someone on your team that is not supposed to be where you are and they suck, but they've been having really, really high LP gains, and that's why they're there. That just doesn't make sense. And then also, like I said, if you're doing, make sure that you're limiting your losers. The more you lose, the harder it is for that person that is the higher rank to climb, unless you guys are very, very similar, as in like gold 3 and gold 2. But if you're like gold 1 and that person's like silver 1 or gold 4, that's the drastic loss to your MMR. And then the final thing is, as I said, the average LP gain is 15, 16-ish, somewhere around there. So you're not really gaining less LP. You're actually gaining normal LP. So, thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate it. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to let me know. Make sure you guys look out for more Chat with Coaches. If you guys like this, thumbs up, and I'll make more. But for now, once a week is what you got. Thank you guys for watching. Till next time, you know what I always say. Thank you for approaching this like a coach.